It's good to see you.
Welcome back to Daybreak Extra, coming to you live from our studio in the nation's capital. So the dilemma of working women during Ramadan will be the topic that we'll be discussing today with our first guest. And the demand for domestic help and cooks has gone up with the advent of Ramadan, with most, working women finding it hard to manage household chores, including cooking, of course. Many working women were of the view that, one rarely finds an understanding husband who is willing to help, his wife in the kitchen. And this often leads to arguments at home during Ramadan. Joining us via Zoom to discuss the dilemma of working women during Ramadan, Dr. Aisha Aminu Senchi. She is a humanitarian and development expert, a PhD holder, and she is also a working class woman. Good morning, Dr. Aisha Aminu Senchi. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
So let's start with, the topic, of course, at hand. You've heard that we'll be talking about the dilemma of working women, and especially during Ramadan. So what's your take on the topic today?
Okay, as a background, Ramadan is the 9th month of the lunar Islamic calendar. It is also an obligatory for all Muslims, including the women. It was in the last 10 days of Ramadan that the Holy Book, the Quran, was revealed. And in that same last 10 days, all affairs of the creation are decreed, and it is expected to manifest in the coming year. So realizing the purpose of Ramadan, which is to attain consciousness of God, it is also very, very important to every Muslim woman, regardless of whether she's working or she is not working in the world. So, and as a working class woman, our duties doubles up during the month of Ramadan. Ramadan will be an addition to the already existing work and family related conflict, especially when we know that it is obligatory. Therefore, for us to achieve that balance between the Ramadan and the family, and as well as the work, which we have an additional responsibilities, like you mentioned, talking about the additional menus during iftar, and also talking about additional, it's a holy month that entails a lot of time for prayers, for intense memorization of the Holy Quran, so that you move closer and you have that consciousness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So basically, as a working class woman, it is not easy, we all know, because now there is an additional task in addition to the already existing conflicting situation that we women are facing. But we try to relate them strongly with efficient time management, and also to realistic plans, and above all, we need support as women at all levels, from our husbands, families, and also our colleagues in the office. When we know that the holy month comes with high activities, like I mentioned earlier, shuttling between personal commitment like prayers, preparation for iftar, and also the need for us to accomplish our routine professional work in the office. So basically, we have also to look at what are the mitigating factors, what are those things we're supposed to do so that we balance between this. And one of the things I do, or I also advocate, I talk to my fellow women, is about how the organization colleague myself and family members will help in really actualizing and helping us to balance up like things that has to do with setting daily goals. What do you have to do in the office? What is that required of you at home? What is that required of you for Ramadan itself? Because it also comes with a line of activities. So, and then your schedule should also be flexible and you prioritize your task. So, and you also always engage in problem solving because sometimes it comes with a lot of, somebody, your husband from morning till evening, and you start asking for a long menu. Today, I want pepper soup, I want jollof rice, I want swallow, and then it's not very easy. You go to the office, you come back very, very late. So you like have to make him understand that it's not about the long queue. There's so many dishes, but it's about the healthy and nutritious food that he requires during the month of Ramadan. We need the understanding of the man of the house, the husbands. Sometimes it may entail reminding them of their also parts religiously, like the Quran and the Holy Bible. All ask them to support us, to be the pillar for our support that they should be. So during Ramadan, we expect that our husbands understand our situation and with the increased task and also be supportive. We are not really saying, we know in the Northern culture, it is not expected for a man to be with you in the kitchen to start cooking. People look at it as a taboo or something else. But then there are so many ways they can support us, and then we will be able to balance up. For example, by even reducing the number of those menus and allowing us to do what we are able to do. Some men will not even allow you to take a house help. I know a situation whereby if a house help cooks for my husband, he will say he's not eating that food that day. Or I will cook rice, he will say it's swallow that he wants to eat. So you really need to make them very, very understanding. We have to be humble to them, no argument, we don't procrastinate, so that because the more you argue, the more they feel you value the work more than what you are supposed to do at home. And on one hand, remember Ramadan is like an obligation, not like, it's really an obligation for all Muslim women. And we believe it is during the Ramadan that all the gates of the heaven are opened and all the gates of the hell are closed. So we also want to be nice, to do what is required of us so that we attain that Allah's blessing, and also we are rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ramadan is seen as a protective shield against fire from the hell, of the hell. And so women also strive, just like the men, to do the prayers, as well as we have our indicators in our offices, which will be measured and regardless of the time. So another thing is collaboration with your and teamwork among your colleagues, and also trying to work together very, very closely so that they support you. The support is not just at home, also in the working place. I had a situation that I have a meeting, and I know usually in the afternoon I will not be able to stand for a very long time. What I do is to see that I engage my colleagues to support me whenever I feel I may not be able to. And they have been very, very supportive. Taking responsibility of the situation is also another key issue that women should focus, and also reducing to reduce other potential conflicts. So avoiding being emotional, because sometimes Ramadan is about restricting yourself from eating, drinking from morning till 7 a.m. So when you are hungry, sometimes you can be emotional, and coupled with the demand in your office. So you just have to be yourself and control yourself. don't be emotional, and also keeping it simple. For example, in the preparation of meals I mentioned earlier, for example, when it has to do with your schedules in the office, you try as much as possible to keep it simple. You schedule and integrate how you work closely with your friends. And finally, you try to make it possible. I always say that, yes, I can. And this I always tell my fellow women that say you can. Never believe there is something that is too much for us. If we can conceive and nurse a baby in our wombs for 9 months and go through all the rigors of labor, then there is nothing that is as painful as that. Then we should also be able to balance between whatever situation we found ourselves. And this I will say thanks to a privilege I got to learn from one of the organizations I worked, which the slogan is always making it possible. So it is not easy for a working woman, but yes, we can, and we are doing it efficiently, and we are delivering and will continue to do it.
All right, Dr. Aisha, thank you so much for that extensive explanation. You definitely answered most of the questions that I had. But when you talk about organizations, I remember you actually said that the organization you work with try to make it easy for Muslim women to be able to fast so it doesn't affect them. But there are other organizations who are so strict that it doesn't even bother them, and you have to do the work. You have to work from 8 or sometimes even 9 to 5 p.m. and even at that you have to withstand traffic before you even get to the house. You go home and you have to cook the meal, and then you have just a few hours to even sleep before you wake up for sahur and all that. And some people would actually say something would suffer. It's either the work suffers or your fasting suffers. What would you advise women to do in such situations? Women who actually have really, really tasking and a strict work environment.
Yeah, I think maybe you did not get me very well. What I'm saying is it lies in us, we the women. You have to integrate very well with your colleagues. The organization where I work, I report by 8, I close by 5. But then what I'm trying to say is by the time you have a strategic plan, you engage very, very well with your colleagues to support you, because it's not everyone in your organization that is fasting. We still have our Christian brothers and sisters whom are not fasting. So there are some of your key deliverables that are expected of you, that when you collaborate very, very well, you can have that support. After all, it's just for a month. So you can have that support from, yeah.
Okay. So, Dr. Aisha, I remember Sheikh Mufti Mek mentioned, in a video of his that in the month of Ramadan, women are supposed to, not only cook, but of course use that time period to worship Allah, which is the main essence of Ramadan. And you'd see situations whereby the men would be doing, mostly little to none. And the women, of course, by the time they're done with work from office, they get back home, put in the work, for iftar. And then when it reached time for the main ibadah, they are exhausted, and it all boils down to them, burning out. So you mentioned that men should support their women, help them and all that. But I would want you to give, please, more detail, insights on how these men or family members, others, can actually assist the woman in order for her to also have her own closeness and time with Allah.
Okay. Oh, like I mentioned earlier, that word support it comes from the two holy books. In the Quran, it is clearly stated that men should be supportive of their husband, of their wives, And even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did mention that men should actually support us just like he support his family in their dealings. And a lot of imams do tell them that they should realize that even the Holy Prophet at some point washed dishes for his wives, and also support them with little house. So in the area that we request support with our men has to do, we have some of our men, not just even the cooking. You do the cooking, you finish the cooking, you bring the cooking, they will even be expecting, Aisha, please bring spoon. After I drop the spoon, the next will be, Aisha, bring cup, Aisha, bring. So if they can help with that part, it will be very, 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 very good. We will appreciate. And also supporting with the kids. Sometimes we have little kids that needs our attention, and we come back late, and we are saddled with the responsibility of trying to cook, and the children needs our attention. So we also expect the men to look at that aspect and support us with the area of the children, where they also need our attention. Sometimes even going to the markets, some men will decide to leave that aspect to the wives. You are coming back from the office, you have to park your car by the side to start buying this and that for iftar, and you come back, you rush to the kitchen. Such aspect also should be seen, driven or implemented by men. All the things that are required now, we are in the digital world. We communicate with them, they support us and try and see that those things we will require for the day is ready, so that when we come, in fact, not just that, there are occasions we have to make like some dishes that like a fruit salad, blah blah, like that, while maybe a wife is busy in the kitchen cooking. I think some of those things that has to do with peelings and whatever, after all, what did our religion say? It's not whatever Allah is not saying, do not do it. I don't think since it is not haram for a man to say he will not support his wife in this kind of minor things. And again, talking about ibadah that you mentioned, yeah, immediately after you break your fast, it is expected you pray your Maghrib, then you also go to the mosque, if it is very close, to pray the Isha and the Tarawih prayer, which is about 14 rak'ahs. So most women do not have time to go for that, which is very, very key. So I think at this also you have to find a way, like you sell it to the husband, to ensure that this is obligatory. And if I will be able to manage all the things that I'm doing, and since I also want to benefit from this holy month, I should be allowed to do that. Definitely from time to time get on out due to the work. Sometimes I remember the very first and second day of Ramadan, I had a tough day in the office. I closed late. I went straight to the kitchen, leaving my bags and everything in the car. Immediately after the Maghrib prayer, I took water. I slept off. I did not wake up till 11 p.m. And then I still have to I rush to the kitchen to see what to prepare for suhoor. And I have another meeting in the office the next day, which I'm supposed to plan. So, but then, like I say, I always believe in making it possible there. And then I jump up, I prayed my Isha, and then I did my jottings, what my plans for tomorrow will look like, even what I'm going to cook tomorrow for iftar, what will I require to get from outside, what is in the house. And then I communicated some of these things with my husband, that tomorrow we will be having a meeting and I may not come back to this place around 4. If you can get us this and that, I will appreciate, so that when I come back, it will be easier for me. So these are some of the things. And then sometimes even that prayer, by the time they go to mosque and allow only you at home, it becomes very difficult because of you are already so tired. So sometimes I try and ensure that I go with him leaving every other thing. Then we go and pray together, and I come back. Then before I attend to other domestic issues at home.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Aisha, for your time and, of course, for explaining how working class women could actually, merge the home life and, of course, the office work during Ramadan. May Allah make it easy for every woman out there.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay, you're with us, of course, on Daybreak Extra, and we had the opportunity to talk about how Ramadan has been, for working women, and the main essence of it is, for people to, their family, to help them not to get burnt out, from the hustle of all and everything going on in their life, at this moment. And with that, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, the show continues.